Today is another day that we want to share with ourselves some of the expertise that we have in some of the field. And today I am taking us through this expert talk, and this is how our presentation is going to be. So the highlight of our presentation is going to focus on who we are as an organization, and then talk about our unique solutions and our approach. And we talk about key areas of our operation. Then we walk ourselves through some practical ways that we can link TVET to the labor market. Look at our local solutions to unemployment. And then we come to questions and answers. Then we have our take home. So basically, this is how the presentation is going to go. So we are looking at who we are, our unique solutions, key areas of operation, practical ways to link TVET to labor market, local solutions for unemployment, and then questions and answers. And so who we are as an organization. Pinasol was established in 2011, and by then we had nothing to show off. But when we started gradually, we were able to make some slight impact in the life of some vulnerable people in our community. And we established a foundation to develop a more organized way of providing assistance to the less privileged in our communities. So it's a community-based organization that is working very hard to help our people to overcome poverty and injustice. Now, so we look at our missions and our visions. So if you look at our mission is to uplift the standard of living for the marginalized, vulnerable, and disadvantaged people, both spiritually and physically. So coming from a faith-based approach, I believe in spirituality and then physical aspect of human life that we can do to help them. So Jesus Christ himself said, since you didn't do it for your brother, you didn't do it for me. So that physical aspect of our intervention. Then we come to our mission, our vision statement. So our vision is to break the chain of poverty that enslaves the people in Ghana through education and empowerment program. So this is where our focus on. We're looking at education and empowerment program as an organization. So we have our guiding principles. In fact, I will not focus much here, so I will only walk us through it and then we move on. So we are accountable to all our partners that we work with them. And then we also we have transparency and access to information. Here, we don't hide anything from our partners. Anytime we're looking for information, it must be readily available for you to access them. So that is that. Then we also respect the vulnerable. And in our operations, we believe in vulnerability. So vulnerability is something that we respect. Then human dignity. We maintain the dignity and integrity of all people as the essence of and core of all our policies and programs. So here we maintain, in fact, we have to respect everybody, no matter who you are, make sure you're able to work with you. And then our personnel. Currently, Pinasol doesn't work with permanent staff as many big organizations. But when we are recruiting volunteers, we look for people who can share our visions and missions, and the people who can admit and work with us based on our guiding principle. Now, our new solution, how do we do this? You see, we have some partners here who we are working with. So we are able to do these things through community participation in project designs. Look at the picture there, it's a community engagement, right? So when you are doing community engagement, you can know the needs of the people, you know what you can put in the community that can benefit the people. And this one, we do that through collaboration with these organizations. You see it. We have World Vision, we have Ghana Education Service, Ghana TVET Commission for Technical Vocational Education and Training. We have all these World Vision. These people are partners with us. So we collaborate and partner with those people. Then we also do capacity building and training. These are some of the local solutions that we do here. Then we also mentor other smaller organizations and then other businesses. Currently, Pinasol is mentoring about 3 other NGOs that has just been established. So we do mentorship for those people. We help them to design their profile, help them to design some of the key information that they will need to put together so that they can meet the requirements for social welfare, registration, and others. So there we do mentorship for them. Now, our solutions are geared towards Sustainable Development Goals, SDG goals. Currently, we are focusing on the first 7 where we are working on. So if you look at no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, then we have quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, and affordable and clean energy. If you look at these things, all the programs that we have done, like Martha said, these 3 programs I have done with them, all of them focus on this. Look at poverty, and then if you look at the zero hunger, then we touch on climate smart agriculture. It was an intervention that we did over there so that we can support the small farmer groups so that they can come out of hunger and even have increase in their yield. So these are the solutions that we have. Now, our areas of operation, Pinasol is working on other things, but today we will be focusing on one. But let me just quickly take you through what we are working areas. I work on under health. We are working under health. Now, there's maternal health program is something that we are doing with World Vision. And then here we have child and family sponsorship project that we do. We support some kids with mental stipends, where we try to link them with sponsors who can support the children with some small amount they can take for their school and even monthly upkeeps. So that is there. Then we also look at education. At education, we are looking at formal education and then TVET education. So you look at the formal and the informal. Under the TVET, International Career Education, it can come under both can come under the formal and then the informal sector training. So that's where I have separated that one from there. Then we have food security and family resilience. And then under food security, that's where we design a program under climate smart agriculture with Impact Direct. That is the areas. So today, we want to look at linking TVET to the labor market. So I want you to share with us what your understandings are when you talk about TVET. What is your understanding about TVET? You can type your response to the chat. So when you say TVET, yes. 1 or 2 people can just give us something, what they know about TVET, and then move on. So is someone sharing with us? Technical and vocational training. Okay. Yes, go again. So from Pascaline, saying that from technical and vocational training. All right. One more. Technical and vocational education and training. All right. So let's move on. Now, you are not far from right. Technical and vocational education and training. Good. So Sarah, good. So here, it's simply the technical vocational education and training. And when you say technical vocational education and training, you're focusing on how to use the mind, the hand, the heart to come out with something. So in the training institute, you say the sakamoto. Sakamoto means you are active working with something. So under TVET, you don't just go and read. When you read, you must practice what you have read. That is the TVET as it stands for. Stands for Technical Vocational Education and Training. Now, we are talking about the labor market. I'm saying that linking TVET to the labor market. I want one of you to, at least somebody should share with us what you understand about the labor market. Have your response here. How would you describe or define the labor market? Look at the terms in this. I get some answers here. Let me say labor market. Is that describe or have an understanding of what they're doing? In 1 minute, yes. Can you move on? And you say the labor market. What comes into our mind?
I see a responsibility from this side.
Okay, so the labor market. Do we have somebody with
yes, there's some
manpower demand? Okay, yes. Sarah says where workers interact with manpower demand. Yes. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. You can still share more if you have some to share. So, according to Sarah, saying that's where workers interact and then manpower demand. All right. So the labor markets, as may be described, as it can be or a national or international. And what happens here is that there is an exchange between employer, employee, and conditions of service, right? So here, it depends, like I said, they depend on the exchange of information between employers and job seekers about their wages, conditions of employment, level of competition, and job creation. So the labor market, we are looking at where everybody that goes there, irrespective of your qualification, you have to find job to do. That's why some people are paid higher than others, depending on their qualification that they send to the labor market. So it's comprised the job seeker and then the employer. And where they are employing, it can be on a local or international or national levels. Is that okay? So local levels, we have to know how rates are being determined. The international levels, how rates are being determined. But it can depend on the same job. And depending on the conditions around it, it will show how much a person is paid. When we say the labor market, is interaction that goes on between the employer and the employee, and how they are managed to come to a level ground where each and everyone is fixed according to rates. And I think this I take this source from Pinasol Foundation, Netherlands. Now, when we talk about the labor market, we are looking at drivers of the labor market. What drives the labor market? Now, the employer, as I've spoken about two things. The first one is the employer and the employee. Now, what is the employer looking for? The employer is looking for competencies. In fact, nobody wants to employ somebody to do his work and the person cannot do anything. So the employer is looking for somebody who can work. If the person is stationed on a machine, the person can operate the machine effectively to meet the objectives of the company. So that is where competencies are needed. So the employer, when he's employing somebody, is looking for the person's competencies. Now, how efficient the person is. So the employer will look at that one and take into consideration. The employer is also looking for results. When they employ you and then you are not providing any results, in fact, the employer will not continue to work with you. They have employed you and the company is going bankrupt. They are losing money every day. They will not continue to work with you. Then the employer is looking for somebody who is dependable and responsible. So when you say that the person is responsible, that means that the assigned duties that are given to you, you're able to meet all of them at a go. So that's why I say responsibilities. When they give you contract or they give you offer letter, and they say this is your responsibilities. So the employer would depend on your responsibility and say that, yes, I'm assured that if I'm not there, the job can be done. So so it is being driven by the employer and the employee. So the employee also have some needs. What is the job seeker looking for? Job seeker is looking for wages rate, like how much will you pay me for this job? So I have HND. I have come with my salary range. How much are you going to pay me for this job? I have first degree. So the job seeker is looking for wages. Then we're looking for better conditions of service and job satisfaction. Job satisfaction. Now, the job seeker is also looking for job stability and security. When they come into your job, not today they are fired and tomorrow they don't have anything to do. When they come to your job, they want to see that they have stability in the work that they are doing. Now, we have the medium, or as the labor market. The labor market can be of the international market or the national level, or it can be even the local level. Now, let me explain this one. When we are training somebody as an electrical engineer, let me use that one example. And then you say I have BSc electrical engineering at FBRC in a university in Ghana. It means when you are given a job card to do and you go to Nigeria, you should be able to do exactly what is there. So the job market, when we are training you, we are training you for international markets. We're also training for national markets. So we cannot say that, oh, I can fix solar panel at FBRC or Okyere, but when I go to Accra, I cannot fix solar panel. No. So the labor market, where we are going to send the employer, the job seeker there, they are going to work at the international level and the national levels. So in the local levels, the local goes with the national level. So the training that they are offered here, you should be able to help them to find job to do. So when you're talking about the interaction that goes between the labor markets and then the interaction between the employer and the employee, that means all of these things, the employer will consider all these factors. Now, can you meet international standards or you are a local champion? Local champion means you know what to do there, but when you go outside the scope, you're not able to work in the local level. So that's why it's very important when we are employing somebody into our workforce. Now, we are still defining the team. So we're saying that linking TVET to labor market for youth employment. So let's define who is a youth. Someone share with us who a youth is. You can speak. You can unmute yourself and speak. Unmute yourself and speak if you want.
Yes, I want to say that a youth is somebody between the ages of 18 and 30. Either a male or a female between the ages of 18 and 30, that is a youth. Okay. To me.
Okay. Thank you, Pastor Nelson. So we are yes.
I can also say that it's dependent on different maybe areas, because I find like here in Kenya, a youth is considered someone who is under that 5, that is between 18 and that 5 years. So that is a youth. While you go to other maybe circles, they'll tell you that a youth is someone who is not married.
All right. So yes, you are all not far from right. So the United Nations defined the youth as a person between the ages of 15 and 24. So it's this is what the UN also stipulates a youth to be. But this one depends on where you are. Like you said, in your country is between up to 35. So the UN also recognized that this varies without prejudice to other age groups listed by member states such as 18 to 30. So some countries have defined their youth age as 18 to 30. If you come to Ghana and you are between age 18 and upwards to around 30, you say that you are a youth. But the US says that it's 15. That's why here in Ghana, here, when somebody is involved in, let's say, a rape case or defilement, and the person is around 17 years, then they are considering that that person may not be just like a child. See it? But if you go by the UN age, anybody between the 15 and 24 is a youth. But depending on the country that you're coming from, you define it up to 30 or 35. Now, we are also looking at youth unemployment. Our focus discussion today is youth unemployment. Can you unmute yourself and tell us what you understand by youth unemployment? Youth unemployment. You can unmute yourself and you can also type in the chat if you want. When you say youth unemployment, what comes to mind? Is anyone sharing something? Unmute yourself. You are speaking.
Yes, I would say that
okay. So I have Calvin. Calvin says a scenario where young people are not employed. Anthony.
into public service or whatever. They are there without job. I think these are the youths that we can consider youth unemployment.
Can you come again?
I am saying that either male or female,
Okay.
between the ages of, as you said, 15 and 25, who are not employed, who are not doing anything, either self-employed or being employed by the government or being employed by a private sector.
Okay, so Calvin said a scenario where young people are not employed. Antonio also says a lack of employment, both formal and informal for youth. Lenson says that a situation where job opportunities are too limited as compared to the youth population. Okay, so Sarah also says percentage of youth people who do not have means of earning a living. Okay, yes, a young who is competent and ready to work but cannot find a job. Wow, what an interesting, wow, good submissions. You have not access to job markets. Okay, I think you have done so much well. Done so well. Let's move on. So the employment is the situation of the young people who are looking for a job but cannot find a job, with the age ranges being defined by the UN nations. Or they're saying that youth unemployment refers to the share of the labor force ages 15 and 24 without work, but available for and seeking employment. Yeah. So the people is like they are ready for work. They think they have the skills. They have all it takes to be employed, but they'll be knocking doors to doors to find job. The jobs are not there. If you look at Ghana for 2021, about 9.59% of the youth were unemployed. Now, so let's move on here. Now, so let's look at the unemployment rate. Just last week, it was released that 1.76 million persons were unemployed in the third quarter of 2022, just last year, 2022. In Ghana, I'm referring this with respect to Ghana. And within this population, 2 out of every 3 unemployed persons were females. So you see, females are more vulnerable when you are designing projects. So that's why when you are designing projects, females must be in our focus because they are more vulnerable. Some people, when they are going for job market, there's going to be sex for work. They will be treating them badly. And if they decide not to give sex for job, then they are unemployed, right? So females are very vulnerable. And if you look at the statistics that we have here, saying that 2 out of every 3 unemployed persons were female. Across the 3 quarters, about 157,000 persons experienced an unemployment spell. That means they were unemployed in all the quarters. So from January to December, these 157,000 youths who are between the ages of 15 and 24, or between the ages of 18 and 35, they couldn't find job. You look at the definition of the youth age, they couldn't find job. Then close to 7.5 million persons remain employed throughout the 3 quarters out of the about 11 million persons employed in each quarter. Look, 11 million people that are employed, only 7.5% of them were in job or in the work, a specific work from January to December. The rest couldn't find job. Or they were either redundant or they left jobs for any other reasons. Out of that number, only 11 million persons were employed. Now, if you look at 2015, look at these statistics in Ghana. So unemployment rate is not going down soon in Ghana. Similarly, in Africa, looking at the way our governance systems are, the policy makers and the way they do things, the unemployment is not coming down, it's always going up. That's why we must have intervention to deal with some of these things. If you look at this one, I think it's obvious on the screen, you can see them. And then, but look at the point number 2. They're saying that of this number, about 714,960 are females, representing 57.2%. So you see, females are always lacking behind when job, as a matter of going to find job. Females are more vulnerable. They are not able to find job. And we may find out, maybe you can share with us some of the reasons why females are not finding jobs here. But if you look at point number 5, unemployment rates in Ghana increased to 5.7% in 2016 from 5.54% in 2015. So you see, from 2015 it was 5.54, but it has increased to 5.77. That means it is not coming down, as we see in the previous slide. That's why we, the NGOs and then policymakers, we have to see how best we can do that. Now, so let's look at what are some of the causes of youth unemployment. You can type here, or you can unmute yourself and share with us some of the things you think are the causes of the youth unemployment. I have Rose here. You can unmute yourself and speak, or you can type in the chat, and then you read it out here. What are some of the causes of the youth unemployment? Let's have one coming in. Lack of experience. Okay. So the cabins is lack of experience. Poor economic
I
growth.
will add that there is no availability of job. And yes, and I mean decent job, a paying job, you will not get. That is one of the causes, yes.
Lack of a decent job. Retirement age, not willing to retire. Sarah, retirement age is a bit high. Okay. Then some employees not willing to retire. Okay. Anthony, is that peculiar in your country? Retirement age is a bit high. Yes, Sarah. Some employees not willing to retire. Okay, let's move on. I think you have done well. Good. So you are sharing knowledge anyway. So now, so what are some of the causes of is a financial crisis? It's one of them. Now, you see, when we came from the COVID-19 recently, you realize that there is economic meltdown, and most of the economies in Ghana or in Africa is running towards the IMF for bailout. Almost all the countries in Africa, especially in West Africa, including Ghana, they are running to IMF for bailout. And you see, before IMF will give you a bailout, you must come with conditionalities, fees of employment. That between 2015 and 2016, that we are talking about unemployment, that was increasing under one of the administration. Those times were under IMF, and there was a strict ban on employment of recruitment. So those times, the youth were not finding job because they were only trained to work with the government. The kind of training that they received, they were looking at government for employment. That between the 2015 that we saw that it was increased, and then to 2016. Now, similarly in our case, if you look at the report that just came out, you see that Ghana is currently going to IMF, and there is a freeze on employment since January. Okay, so government is not employing. So financial crisis that has hit every country is also resulting to this unemployment. Then the Rose Dapa, God bless you, I see you here. Rose says lack of support for the private sector by the government. Yes, that's really one of the major things, because the private sector employs most of the people. That's why today we're talking about linking the TVET to labor market. The labor market will deal with the private enterprises. Then number two, you say that skills mismatch. Let me read the skills mismatch is a youth unemployment cause that affects young people everywhere. There are millions of young people out of school and ready to work, but business needs skills these young people never got. Young people end up experiencing difficult school to work transition, and business are unable to find suitable candidates for their positions. You see, when the companies, when they employ you, they spend so much money to go and do retraining of the staff that they employ, capacity buildings, which under normal circumstances shouldn't come with their cost. Because if you say I'm HND graduate, then you should be able to do specifically the jobs, that job task that they assigned to you. But you realize the person who complete HND, and supposing if it's an electrical engineer, you cannot fix even electrical bulb. So the industry is looking for somebody who can work, but the graduates have gone to school, and there's a mismatch to the training that they receive. You realize that what the industry needs is not what the institutions were providing. So they will come out as if that they have received education, but they are not able to transition into work. So it's one of the factors that affect the youth. Then lack of entrepreneurship and career and life skills education. You see here, everybody wants their child to go to a grammar school, and nobody wants to take a career course. So you go and read BSc program, and many people are doing the same program. When I was at the Polytechnic doing my HND program, there was a course called Purchasing and Supply. And when they are going for their classes, some of them will standing on the corridors. You don't have a place to sit. The classroom is choked. And then those who are doing sciences, electricals, and then building, and you see, we are handy in our classrooms. So if everybody is going to do the same program, so there's 1,000 people are going for purchasing and supply, and a company is looking for 1 or 2 storekeepers and others. How many of them can they employ? So instead of going to take a career program, then you see that they are only doing programs that are not relevant to their, or that not going to give them availability for work. So while the exact course of skills is difficult to pin down, it's a combination of school curriculum neglecting vocational, entrepreneur, and employability training in favor of more traditional academics. Poor connection between the private sector and schools to promote training and work experience, and lack of instruction. Here, you see that until recently in Ghana here, when the TVET, like a CODVET, which has now been has been graduated to or has received LI approval and now commissioned, was mandated to regulate technical education. Some schools and institutions were doing programs which are not accredited. So they combine any program together, and the students will go and then they will do it. When they come out of school, realize that the industry doesn't need the skills that they have provided. So it's one of the problems that is causing the youth unemployment. The lack of access to capital. Here, that those who want to go into the self-employment and entrepreneurship and career education, they need to start up. Currently in Ghana here, inflation is around 50-something%. And if you go to bank and borrow at that rate, it's unsustainable. You cannot sustain your business and the business will collapse. So the youth are afraid of going to borrow money at that high rate so that they will come and then they mess up and then you'll be in debt. So this doesn't promote self-employment and entrepreneurship. It's one of the factors that affect the youth unemployment. Then let's look at how we can practically connect TVET to the labor market so that we can deal with this youth unemployment. So let's look at some of them. The first one is that one, you have to choose the business field and define the market needs. And here, the labor market may be local or national, as I have already explained. And then here, they depend on exchange of information between employers and job seekers about the wage rate, conditions of employment, and level of competition and job location. So here, we must define the job market needs. What does the people need? So when I come to FEJASI, and I want to establish a company or a business in FEJASI, I must know what the people need here. So if I come and say, okay, let me open an internet cafe, is that what they need here? So when we are able to define what the market needs are, that's where we can tailor our training and then our effort towards that. So you must choose a business field and define the market needs. So I want to be currently, if you are a carpenter or let's say a woodwork engineer, now when they are roofing a building, they don't use wood anymore. So they have to use trusses and other things. So if you don't know how to use it, the T&Js and those you cannot find. So when you know that this is the market needs, then you define the market and then you see how best you can follow through it. Then here is where you analyze the market needs. Now that you have a rough idea what local business opportunities are, you can start to narrow your focus and define what kind of job are available. So what jobs are available? Then the next step is to see which training institutions and schools prepare the youth for this kind of job. As the amount of graduates seems to fill the vacancies. Now, are the businesses and enterprises pleased with the skills of their newly appointed staff? With this information, it is possible to determine whether the supply and demand of skills in this field are matching. This is supply and demand. When I went to Japan for some TVET training, every year they take statistics to know which labor force, where would they going to have a shortage of skilled labor. So in the skilled labor, if they say, okay, you know, they train people for their local markets and for some for the international market. So how many people are retiring this year in this area, like in medicine? How many people are retiring there? How many of them we train to come and fix that vacancies that are going to be created? So when you analyze the labor market, you know the needs, what is there. Then you focus your training over there. Now, some people, when you're going to employ, let's say, agent, oh, don't employ these people, they don't know anything. That's what they will say, but they are not satisfied with what kind of skills they came into their business to show. So you say, oh, I'm a first degree in the electrical engineering. Then they give you anything that you cannot do. So they also advise their colleagues that if you employ somebody, don't employ a first degree electrical engineer because they don't know anything. So that's one of the problems that the youth is facing. So when you analyze the labor market, then you try to find how best we can meet demand and the supply. If there's a demand there, then you train the people over there. Don't train 100 electricians when you know that you can only employ only 20 electricians. That is mismatch between supply and demand. So when you are training, you must train what you need and look at other job markets and then define the job market. Now, here is, you have to develop job profile. Some jobs require special skills that you can use to do them. Maybe, like I said, specific jobs require special training and skills to undertake. Special qualifications or modules is needed before one can do them. So in developing the profile, it's expedient to check on the requirement for the task to do the best job. When companies employ you, they don't just give you any work to do. They look at special cases. They have to train you on special machines. Even though you may be trained, when you go outside, UK and other places, you have first degree, but you don't care about your first degree. You have to retrain you on a specific job they're going to do. So when you know the kind of job the person is doing, then you develop the job profile. What should they do? What goes into their training? What does the market need? And that is missing in the current training that we are doing. Then you define the profile. So I want you to share with us. I've spoken a lot, so I want you to share with us this. So what are some of the work in your communities that are available, but the youth does not have the competencies to take up employment there? You can type in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share with us. What are some of the work in your communities that are available, but the youth does not have the competencies to take up employment there? And brainstorm and share with us. Is anyone sharing with anything? You can type in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and speak. Yes, is anyone available? Okay, so let's continue. Since we are brainstorming, you can type into the chat when you are done. So if you look at Ghana here, Ghana has found oil. But when you go to the oil sector, realize that people who are working in the oil sector, about 90% are expatriates. There is job market. There's employment opportunity in that sector. But you see that the youth doesn't have the skills to do them. Ghana has mined gold over decades. But about 90% of the gold that we mine here are not staying in Ghana here. But we don't have the skills to mine them. So if you want to do that, you must make conscious effort to develop a job profile where special skills training is given to some people who can do a specific job so that they can find job after their training. Then, so after you have profiled the job, then you have to develop training. And here, in developing the training, it should be more practical, comprehensive, demand-driven, industry-driven, and competency-based approach, so that the participants can acquire the skills required for the job market. You see, we do skills training, and the skills training that we do, what happens here is that there should be demand-driven and then industry-led. That means the industry needs them. The approach should be competency-based so that when the person completes any training institution and say that, oh, I am Solomon Asiamah, I have certificate 2 in renewable energy. That means all the competencies there, I'm able to meet them. So develop the training such that the training is going to be more practical. And in our part of Ghana here, we do improvise. Oh, we say, oh, improvise. You say, oh, you don't have that, improvise it. But there are certain skills that you cannot improvise. You need a hands-on training. And here we have obsolete machines, lack of tools, lack of equipment, lack of training materials. These are some of the problems that we are having. So you see that when you are training the people, you don't have all the requirements to train the people to become so competent. So when we are developing the training, our approach is that the training must be more practical with all the basic things that the person will need before you can do that. So that is number 4. Develop the training, and the training that you're doing might be more practical. For instance, the Pinasol Young Solar Professionals training was more practical with 2 days in school and 3 days work experience with the industry. So when we are training people, we don't just train the people in the school, but they must have industry feeling. How does industry operate? Send them to the industry. Let's go to do attachment as the formerly go. Let's do attachment with industry so they can learn industry practice when we are developing the training. So workplace experience learning is vital in that. Then you cannot do well in linking the TVET to labor market without training the teachers and the facilitators. For some facilitators, they are trained on particular equipment, and now new machines are coming in. They don't know how to use them, and they have to use it to train their students. So what you have to do is that you have to retrain them so that they can also train the people to meet their market needs. The teachers are the integral part in job creation. They provide skills, training, and knowledge, which help to reduce unemployment and in turn reduce poverty among the youth. Currently, there is mismatch in the training provided by the training institutions and the demand by the industry. What the industry is looking for, not what the training institutions are training the people for. So there's a mismatch. Students are retrained by the industry before they could be employed. Like I earlier on said, industries have to go and retrain their employers before the people can be employed. And this means that the teachers must be first trained in modern technology and skills to help them provide the best knowledge and skills to the youth. That is what we have to be doing. If we are serious about dealing with the youth unemployment, the people who are training the youth, if they don't know how to train the people well, they cannot train them. So they will come out with skills gaps. But you have to meet every skill gap. So if the teacher is lacking a skill gap, let's go and train the teacher so that the teacher will come and train the student. For instance, we are doing some training at Okyere Technical School, and GIZ has brought in an expert to come and train teachers. Because they know that, yes, they know to a certain level, they may not be able to do all the LOs and the modules there. So let a standard facilitator come and retrain the teacher so that the teacher can help facilitate the training for the students. So that's kind of what is happening there at the Okyere School. So definitely, if you want to train the youth to be more practical, train the teacher first. So the teacher, when he's competent, can handle the students in the classroom. Then you see that technology is advancing, so we need to innovate and reach out. Here, we cannot say that, oh, technology is moving at the high speed, so I'm also sitting back. No. Every day, new technology is coming. So the thing that is coming, we have to retrain the people. And that's why there's a need to collaborate with the institutions and partner organizations so that we do our training. So like Okyere, I'm using Okyere as an example. Okyere have MOU with some about 20 companies who are supporting in their workplace experience learning. Pinasol have partnered with other organizations who are also supporting workplace experience learning. If you look at in the our WELL program, those who are doing the Pinasol Young Solar Professionals project, they are attached to industry. Also go and do training over there. So I will come to our last session, our local solutions for youth employment. So in our as organization as Pinasol, what are we doing so that we can support youth unemployment and then reduce youth unemployment? And then we are saying that about 70% of TVET programs are found in the informal sector, such as driving, hairdressing, bees making, metalworks, motor vehicle mechanics, carpentry, masonry, farming, catering, hospitality, electronics, etc. These are jobs that are really available and they are with us in the community. And the youth doesn't want to go there. There are so many job opportunities in these areas, but they don't want to go there. So Pinasol, what do? We design programs based on the available potential jobs in the communities that the youth can have gainful employment. And such of them is the climate smart agriculture that we did. So we support farmers to increase their yield in the community so that they can increase their household income and the basic consumption needs. So they can feed themselves and even they can have extra to pay for their household needs. So we have to, when we are designing program, the program should be designed such that the jobs will be available within the community so that people can do it and also they can add value to certain things and then they can give them money. Like the solar PV training that I'm talking about, we did with more practical and hands-on. The Teenage Nursing Mothers project was more practical. So this ones, the jobs are there. Every day people wear clothes. When I'm doing my presentation, I didn't see anybody who have come to this Zoom without a cloth. Everybody have come with a cloth. Everybody have eaten. So there's always market for people who are working in the food value chain. In the fashion value chain, everybody is wearing something. And that is where the jobs are. So we have to design a program in the community. So if there's no industry in your community, don't think about the industry that are not there. What can you create in the environment which the people need that you can add value to it and the youth can have some job to do over there? Like, so local solutions to unemployment. Then look at some of the interventions that we have done as organization. We have done discovery and career guidance fair. This one, last year, about 1,610 students in junior high schools benefited from the project. Then we have climate smart agriculture, about 98 farmers, small scale farmers benefited. We have registered about 250 children under a child support program. Then we have registered 120 children under national health insurance. Then we have teenage nursing mothers project, which about 35 of them got benefited from the training. Then we have Pinasol Young Solar Professionals training. Now, look at some of the projects. See, this is a Pinasol Young Solar Professional. If you look at the one with the Sandula solar energy, they have done training, but they are in this one, they are working at the industry as workplace experience learning, the one that you call attachment. So at the school base, you see them there, and then at the industry, you see them there. So they are not only training in the school for just training, but they must know what the industry is doing. So they are not doing the attachment or workplace experience learning with the industry. Then we also have teenage nursing mothers, like I said. We supported these girls to have sewing machines. We pay for their training costs, and they are now doing well, right? We hope that by next year, one of them or some of them are going to graduate depending on their competencies that they have obtained. So we see the DC in our community on behalf of the Pinasol, giving them the sewing machines, and that is this. World Vision also partnered this project, so they also supported additional girls and boys. And this morning, I sent one of the boys to Tyler, who is going to teach the boy tiling. You see it. So they are the ones that practical that they can do. Now this is Pinasol informal sector project, and this one, you see, we train them on the entrepreneurship, bookkeeping, time management, health and safety, all these things in all trade areas. And after that, MVTI will award them master accreditation certificates. So we do this through a partnership program with MVTI. In the middle there, you see the chief of our community, Asibre Eduameyao, who graced the occasion for the first time. And here, I think when he came, also supported Pinasol with 2 plots of land to build Pinasol training center. Yes, he donated 2 plots. When he visited and saw what we are doing, he decided to support Pinasol with 2 plots of land. Yes. Now, since we are talking about youth unemployment, the program starts with basic education. Basic education. So what Pinasol we are doing is that we don't want the people to go to university before we orient them about career education. So every year we partner with the Ghana Education Service, and then we organize dream discovery and career guidance for basic junior high schools before they write their BEC examination. So we bring experts together. Then we focus on TVET education and career education. So here they take time to ask questions. They take time to know more about job opportunities that are available, so that when they are selecting their program and their courses in their secondary schools, then that is where they start their journey from. So you see that when we started the program, most of the people who initially thought that they were going for other book reading courses, they are now shifted their attention to TVET education, which is benefiting them. And some of them are doing well. Even when it comes to TVET education, those who come first year, second year, they started working. So they don't come out unemployed. So we focus on early education, catch them young, infuse in them TVET and career education so that they can take it along when they are moving to universities. And this is a climate smart agriculture. You see, this is the farm that some of the farm that they're doing. The left side, they are planting cabbage there. This is a maize farm, and how they use push planter. It's the first time a farmer is using push planter. So I was there to teach the farmer push planter. See it? So they have not used it before. So you have to go and show them how to use push planter so that they can plant more seeds at a faster rate without necessarily using the cutlasses to dig holes and put in the grains. See it? So that is. Now, so the local solution, what we do is that we encourage career education, more technical vocational education and training, provide career guidance and job placement information to students in primary and junior high schools, establish guidance and counseling centers in all basic schools, and build the capacity of school-based counselors with knowledge in TVET and career education. I want to focus on the last two, establish guidance and counseling centers in all basic schools. In fact, when we did our dream discovery and career guidance, what we realized was that some of the teachers, even in the basic education, didn't know the reforms that is happening even in Ghana. You don't know anything about CODBET, you don't know anything about CTVET, you don't know anything about TVET services, you don't know anything about the program and academic progression and the job opportunities. So even and the teachers in the basic schools who are supposed to even guide our children to even focus on career education, they don't have it. So what Pinasol is going to do is that we want to build the capacity of school-based counselors with knowledge in TVET and career education, so that for sustainability reasons, if Pinasol is not there, since they have built their capacities in the schools, they can do that. What we do is that we bus them together at centers, and they do it comes with the cost. Sometimes World Vision have to partner with us and sponsor us to buy the people, give them refreshment and those things. So in order to take away the cost component in the future, so that we can do it every time, we want to build the capacity of the counselors in the schools so that they can do the training there or can guide the students there for us. Then it's Pinasol championing everything all the time. So what we want to do is that we want to construct Pinasol Resource Center for youth training to teach the skills gaps in identified trade areas. Now, we have already gone to the training schools. They have completed. They are lacking gaps. For instance, in the fashion industry, there's a new thing that they call bones. I don't know how even know they call it bones. Those who were trained long time ago, they don't know anything about bones. So now that the thing has come, we have to bring the people together and find the gaps, the skill gaps that they don't have. Then we train them there. So the purpose of the construction of Pinasol Resource Center for youth training is to bring experts from time to time to train the people on the skills gaps that they need so that to keep them working. For instance, the automotive industry, these automatic transmission cars, if we come to our local artisans here, so they have difficult repairing them. They have to refer the car to Kumasi or bring experts to Kumasi to come and train the people or come and fix the cars here. And this is a skill gap, and it's causing the youth here losing jobs, losing monies. So these things, when we are able to build a resource center, we bring the experts here, they bring all the artisans here, those who doesn't have the skills, then come so that an expert will come and train you on the skills gap so that you go and meet the industry needs. Then establish job business center for available jobs in the communities to help the youth to apply for them. So Pinasol will go and look for the jobs that are available. If there's you need a missing work, a painter here, electricians here, and we go and scout for these jobs together. Then we bring it to our center, and the youth will come there, and then they can take some of the jobs available. Then you want to have to support workplace experience learning. Like I said, we have to go into attachment, attach the learner to a master who knows the trade, that the master can train that person to do well. And they support the capacity building and business development. So those smaller NGOs, smaller businesses that are looking for support and to build up, then our focus is that we're going to help them to develop their business needs. So I think I've spoken about them. Now, this is a saying by Ron, saying that, Jim Ron, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. So if you look at formal education, you only get some salary from a government or an employer. But if you're self-employed, you can make a fortune. Then the best education you can get is investing in yourself. And that doesn't mean college or university. The problem of our society now is that we focus on university education at the expense of career education. But what will bring or what will solve our unemployment problem in Ghana, in Africa, is not about university education, but it's about career and TVET education. If you want to link the two labor market, then our focus should be shifted from the traditional way of training people so that they can have skills and hands-on training. So this is a take-home. Today's presentation, what we think we can summarize this training is one. So about 90% of jobs are in the informal sector. And we have to design training programs to support the youth to get jobs. So we as NGOs, we have to understand that about 90% of the jobs are in the informal sector. And it is the private sector that employ many of our graduates. Those who complete university and the polytechnics and training colleges, in the informal sector that employs them. So we have to design programs such that the informal sector can employ most of the graduates. Then in designing training programs, it should be demand driven, not supply driven. Like I was using an example like the purchasing and supply and electrical engineering. It's the purchasing and supply is just a matter of supplying the training people without the job market. But you must train the people for the job market. Where we see that there's a need to train people, you train the people there. You don't go and train 100 artisans in fashion design. Meanwhile, maybe the company or a company can absorb only 20 of them. That's become useless. Those people that you train will not have work to do. So let's look at demand and supply when you are designing program. So even at the impact direct level, when we are designing program for funding, the program must be demand driven, not supply driven. The supply driven, they have to go and look for the job. By when it's demand, immediately they are on the job, people are looking for them. So that is what we have to do. The youth lack the skills needed by the industry to be employed after school. Hence, all training programs should be competency-based to adequately prepare them to meet the job market. So if you want the people to be job market ready, then the training must be competency-based and encourage the youth. But in our communities, let's encourage the youth. They don't want to go into TVET, but let them know the consequences. And let's use the statistics that is available. Let them know that when they want to be employed, the only path that can help them is the TVET education. Let's encourage the youth. Then, as governments and civil society groups and NGOs, we have to make conscious effort to budget for TVET financing. In fact, tooling and retooling of technical schools are very expensive, and we need to make conscious effort to finance it. For instance, in Japan, they finance their TVET or technical education through employment insurance. The employment insurance, what they do is that when you're going to school, it's free for your training. But when you complete school and you find a job, you pay 1% of your salary to government until you go for retirement. That's the financing approach. You use 1% of your salary to finance the technical schools. So when you go to the technical schools, the workshops like industries, everything that you need to train the people, they are there. Because you go to school for free, let's say they spend about 8 years in school for free, and you are going to work about 24 years or 30 years. And 30 years, you are taking 1% every salary for every month. You realize it's a chunk money, but because the people are trained effectively, they can find good jobs to do. So they don't bother about how much they are earning and how much government is taking from their salary because they are competent. When they bring us expatriates to support some projects and works here, they pay high. But if you don't know the skills, how can you charge high? So we government, civil society groups and NGOs like ourselves, we have to make effort to budget for TVET financing. Encourage the youth and the graduate to go into entrepreneurship and self-employment. Whilst they are waiting for a government job which is not available, let them start something in the locality and then they can find jobs to do. Then the last but one, that parents must show keen interest in the kind of programs their wards pursue at the secondary school, the university, so they can find jobs after school. Don't leave your child to go and take any course, so that when they finish the program, they become a burden on you. To let the parents guide their wards by their strengths, their weaknesses, so that they can select best program and then they can get jobs to do. Now, this is a question I want to take home. It's a rhetorical question, but you can decide to type into the chat group. You can speak to it. Some of us, for me, my parents didn't go to school, but they worked to pay my fees, right? We find job to pay my fees. What are some of the informal TVET jobs did your parents do to pay your fees and took care of your families? Your father and your mother worked without going to school. They found a job to do to pay our fees. Why is it that those of us who have gone to school, we are not able to find jobs and do well? As NGOs, what can you do in your local community to reduce youth unemployment? I think with this, take-home questions. You can brainstorm with your team, and then you come out with answers later. Thank you for listening.